Good morning and welcome to the fifth quarter Northern Arizona Style. My name is Danny Neal and I am your co-host for the day. And as always, I got to bring in my partner, the coach. The man is known all over Northern Arizona simply as that, the coach. My guy, Mr. Tyrone Johnson. How you doing, Coach?
Coach, I'm doing well this morning. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, man. I'm just trying to get everything together here today. I want to remind everybody that this morning, this show will be pre-recorded and be shown at a later date. But we just want to get up and make sure we have enough things going on every week for everybody. But so, Coach, we sitting here today, man, and I got to get in out of work today. And I know you look like you are already at work, man. So what's the day looking like?
Hey man, I'm just saying we big time now. We moving on up, you know what I mean? We can get a pre-recorded show going, so we big time. But for me today, it's about basketball, and a lot of people would think that's flag high, but it ain't even about flag high basketball. That's just practice today, not a game. That's practice.
Practice.
It's about youth basketball and making sure we got everything out and going with that. We got to get the shirt orders, well, the jerseys and everything, start putting together all the tabulations for that. Adult basketball, I got an email that, just flashed. I don't know if it was email or text flashed across my screen in terms of somebody got suspended for dunking last night. And so, it's real work that I got to do today. You know what I mean? And so, but of course, it's always great to sit here and chop it up with you.
Yeah, man, but that's just crazy. I mean, crazy to show that you went from youth. You talked about what you're doing with youth. You talked about what you're doing with high school, and you talked about what you're doing with adult. So, I mean, man, you got the whole basketball scene covered. That's why they call you the coach, man, because you got the whole gamut. Now, when you start talking about these youth basketball leagues dunking, getting in trouble, then I know something, man. But hey.
Hey, if the youth basketball league, if anybody dunking that, they ain't gonna be in trouble. We just gonna applaud them.
No, I
And
know that's
then
right.
anybody else though, once you 18 and you in there, and then the rules that say no dunking, if you dunk, it's gonna be some repercussions.
That's right. But say if you can dunk that well, you need to go play college ball or something.
Yes, sir.
So man, you're talking about youth basketball and everything. So just so the people can know, this is run through the city of Flagstaff. Are there still openings if people want to get into the youth basketball league?
So we will still take youth that are interested in playing right now. We have second, third grade division, fourth,
Wait,
fifth division.
wait, coach. This is pre-recorded, so that wouldn't be happening right now.
What you talking about, man? We still taking registration. It don't matter if
Yes.
this pre-recorded or not.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to talk about it then.
If they see this today, if they see this next week, if we
You,
still got openings, we're gonna take registration for kids, man. You know
you're a
this.
good guy, man. You are a good guy. I like that. All right.
So, and then we have a middle school division. And so as long as we have space available, we'll take kids on. See,
I
if
like
you would have
that. I
interrupted my
like
flow,
that.
you would have seen that it worked.
That works good, man. Hey, I was just testing you. I was just testing, you know. But yeah, so if you still have, and that's kids in grade, boys and girls, grade second through eighth, correct?
That is correct. And it is ran as a co-ed league. And, you know, the league is ran successfully, for more than 30 years. And so what we did this year is we went ahead and went back to the biggest knowledge base in the town for youth basketball. And so we have you actually running the league. And so if people are interested in playing, please contact Coach Neal and he can get you all hooked up.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I'll tell you what, I'm having fun. I'm back in there and I'm working and doing things I used to do. So I'm enjoying it. So I appreciate you and Crystal giving me the opportunity to get back in there and do some things that I used to do and let me know I'm not too old yet. So,
No,
but
absolutely.
it's a great league. You guys are doing a great thing with it. Just to be part of it again is awesome. And still looking for a couple of coaches. So if anybody's interested in doing some volunteer coaching, contact us at the rec center and we'll get you in, man. So, but that's good stuff, man. It's always nice working with kids. But just moving forward, um, talking about all the great things that the kids are doing in youth basketball and stuff, we do have some issues out there. And so that's what the show is today. That's why it's pre-recorded, because we feel this is such an important issue that we have a person on the show today who's an expert consultant on this, and the subject we're talking about is youth athletes and opioid abuse. So with that, Coach, a lady we've known for a while, a lady we've known whose kids have come through and played for us. And she's awesome, very knowledgeable, and we're just happy that she would take the time to spend with us. So we would like to bring on Miss Jacque Gencarelle. And I hope I said that last name right. I've been knowing y'all for like 900 years and never had to say it because I never had to. I stayed away from it, Jacque. So now, please tell me the correct.
It was very close, very close.
Hey,
Gencarelle.
oh, I was gonna say, let me try it first. I think I would have got it, but you did it.
Yes, good morning, good morning.
Good morning,
And
Jacque.
again, it's so good to be here with you folks. And just really, again, you said it exactly right. It's something that's popping up on our radar, and it's kind of scary because it's impacting our kiddos. And again, as coaches, as parents, as support staff, to everything that is wonderful about youth sports, this is just something that we just have to bring and be aware of and put it on the back burner and just make sure it's there. But again, with that, I'm going to kind of jump right in and kind of share some things that, as you as coaches may or may not know, but it's something to share and have as part of your vast knowledge base already.
Right.
So
And
again,
Jacque,
yes.
let me just say right quick that this is pre-recorded, but if somebody has any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to still, hit us up with those questions or whatever, and we will get, and Jacque, I'm sure we'll get back with you. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to interject
No,
that, Jacque.
absolutely, absolutely. And again, that we will have some resources and where to go and questions and everything, because we're just barely scratching the surface on this. And again, my name is Jacque Gencarelle. I'm a substance misuse prevention subject matter expert in Northern Arizona. But as coaches have alluded to, yes, I am a coach. I'm a parent. I'm a sports mom as well, and it's been a lot. So this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, making sure we have healthy athletes. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into my presentation here. So really big thing is, again, we're going to talk about a little bit of an overview of the sports industry and its effect on our youth sports. So this is it right here. We really go through our kiddos. We want them to be the superstar. Ourselves as a parent, ourselves as a coach. We really just want to watch them grow and become that. And we do. We do. There's always going to be that one athlete, that one student athlete that's going to be the shining star. And this is how it is. Again, someone's going to have a little bit more understanding of how to play the game, whether it be football, basketball, volleyball, softball, soccer, whatever, tennis. They're going to be that star, and we want to encourage them. But however, again, we got to really be careful on that, because again, there's a lot of kiddos playing sports, and this is just a few sports that are there, and these numbers are, and this is on average every year. There's 21.5 million kiddos in the United States playing sports at any given time. It's a lot of kiddos, a lot of shoes, a lot of dirty clothes. But here in Arizona, back pre-pandemic, we had about 121,000 kids playing sports. Again, vast array of sports. And again, that's a lot of kids, and it's a lot of things. And of course, as you can see, ESPN has been really trying to keep some data, some real live data, and our kiddos, it's participation. And as you had stated, there is youth sports, high school and adult basketball, And we do see that it's starting to, our ages are starting as early as age 6 to 9, and then they move on and so forth. But again, well, here's the reality check though. When we're talking an athlete that comes in, and this is what, again, sometimes you have to really just say, well, are you planning to become that fantastic athlete? And if you are, fantastic. If not, just know that you're coming through the programs that you're in to play, to have fun, for health benefits, for social interaction, to learn a lot of these methodologies that you only get from playing in group sports and or sports. So this one thing that I just put up there, there's some nice little tidbits that 1 in 1,800 boys playing basketball, only one is going to make it to the NBA. So again, these are just things to think about. And then of course, 1 in 3,400 girls are going to make it to the WNBA. Again, we're not saying they're not, but there's always that, to be aware of things like that. And of course, high school baseball, we have 1 in 700 roughly is going to make it to baseball, and then boys it's 1 in 835. Soccer, or as our friends in Europe call it, football. Again, these are things that just to bear in mind and keep in mind that it's going to be that one athlete. And again, we just want to make sure that families and people and programs all understand it's for the fun of it. And again, I have to bring that up because a lot of parents just put too much credence on, you have to be the best. Yes, to a point. But then that does open up some things. So just a few folks that most of our kiddos are seeing on the TV, on their social media, on all types of things. And not to say that they are not good influences, but again, it's just that it's an influence. You can assimilate, you can try to be like that person. And again, even at our local level here in the state, we see folks that, a lot of folks want to emulate, and that's good. But again, it has to come at a cost. So what does that cost? So again, we got to understand a lot of sports, we're seeing a lot of injury. I'm really happy to say that the AIA has really stepped up their game and inclusion of both concussion as well as opiates, as we're going to talk about a little bit more, because this is something that's really impacting our kiddos and our athletes at the same time. So this is one thing that we really got to look at, especially in things that are happening after that maybe the coach is not seeing. So again, therapeutic drugs. If they're in pain, over the counter, that's what OTC is. Diuretics, maybe this is particularly for when we're talking our wrestlers, they have to make weight. I knew of a young man that he wanted water pills because he's like, I got to make weight. I got to drop weight. And I said, not that way. That is not healthy. You're going to hurt your internal organs. It's bad. Again, just having that understanding that there's ways that they're trying, and I say the youth athletes are trying to make the team, and sometimes it might not be to their best interest. And again, performance enhancing drugs. I put caffeine in there because, man, as a parent, I see a lot of it. I see the kiddos sitting as they're waiting for their game. Sometimes they're drinking too much soda, or sometimes they're doing the 5-hour shots right before they play, which is, again, not a good thing for them because their young bodies can't handle it. Even though, caffeine, most of us actually as adults, most of us work on caffeine, but it's not really meant for that, for a young body. So we got to really be, again, as parents, as coaches, we got to make sure that that's not happening. And then, of course, definitely when we're talking drugs, there's the alcohol, there's nicotine, there's marijuana, there's cocaine. And these all things can happen. Again, we see it all the time. So again, there's things that are just, the kiddos see it as well. And so this one is just from an actual statement from a former high school athlete, and they were just saying that they see a lot more. They're seeing the issues that are happening. More substance use is really, and then of course if they got hurt, this is what's happening. And they said that their doctors were giving them more, and of course they're just saying they're seeing the greater risk for injury, which is true. Because again, when we were talking injury, 90% of the student athletes report any kind of sports. That's a sprain, that's a bump on the head. We watched a couple games last night, and there was a lot of falling. There was a lot of physical contact. When you take a good charge, what do? You fall. You fall from a standing 90-degree angle, and you're falling down. And that, depending on how large the athlete is, that can cause it. They don't know how to roll and fall. So again, it's just something that there's going to be injury. And of course, again, over half of them are still playing with the injury. Again, that's just the culture is like, walk it off. Are you okay? Okay. And again, that's because they want to continue playing. Right. And then of course, a lot of sprains. About 37% of the high school athletes get sprains. There's a sprain. I can guarantee you right now, there's at least 2 players on every team right now, early part of the season, that have sprains. And they're not going to tell you. And of course, that's a lot of bandages for sure. And of course, and then if they're hurt, we're talking surgeries now. So again, there's about 2 million that are going to suffer some kind of sports injury that's going to cause them to either go to the ER or cause them to actually have to get a prescription. We're talking ACL tears, bone fractures, dislocations. And those are when we really start talking about the ability for that athlete to become dependent on a prescription, which is kind of scary. So this one here is really, again, we're talking ACL. ACLs happen predominantly more so in female athletes because of the twisting and the turning and the pounding that happens, the pounds per pressure that happen on the knees, especially young knees as they're growing. So in this, we have individual gal named Terry. She was playing, really pushing herself during tryouts, and of course ended up making the team, but tearing the ACL because as they were working at last day of practice, last day of tryouts, they hear Laurel pop, go down, can't move. Parents end up taking the individual to the ER, find out it's a season-ending injury. And of course, surgery. And then after that, prescription for opiates. In this case, it was Percocet, 14 days worth. Now, again, this is sad for the athlete, but what we find out is the athlete can become addicted to that painkiller inside a week. Because generally, when you're getting a prescription, it says as needed. As you can see on that picture of the bottle, it says as needed. That's generally what it says when you get a prescription. Now, as a youth athlete, sometimes they're going to say, oh, as needed, that means I can take it whenever. No, that's not true. What you want to do is really be careful of this because it is a high-level prescription. In this case, it's an opiate, meaning it is for painkiller. You can become addicted within a week, anybody, because you're going to take more and more and more to deaden that pain with the assumption that that pain is leaving, that it means it's fixing your injury. It's not true. It's fixing the pain that's associated with the injury and not fixing it. So again, we've got to be real careful about that. So here's just some of the things. If you've had a tooth extraction, if you've had a back injury, if you've had any type of surgery, or even something minute as a sprain, and it's really bad, and they want to alleviate that pain, these are probably one of the things that are prescribed to athletes, to people. And I put in there, a lot of folks get scared because I put heroin. Again, thinking back to high school chemistry, this is all the same chemical family. So we have heroin, we have morphine, codeine, fentanyl, which is really big in the news these days, oxycodone, hydrocodone. These are all the same family. They're all related, and they're all painkillers, and they all they have a high potency to be abused, both by anybody, not only athletes. But these are things that are prescribed to athletes when they get hurt. And again, when we think of sports, we think of our big three because of the high level of injury that's going to happen. These are high impact sports. We got football, we got basketball, and we got wrestling. And again, it's just really football, obviously, because you got a lot of a lot of mashing, a lot of physicality that happens to that. Basketball, again, like I said, we see that all the time. When I impress on you, if you watch another game, especially with the Pepsi tournament coming up, you're going to see a lot of physicality. At some point, someone's going to get hurt. It's either anything as small as a sprain, or hopefully, knock on wood, they're going to not get a concussion, but something's going to happen because of the physicality. And then, of course, wrestling that's happening right now. The whole point is to pin somebody. Again, we got a really high dose of injury that's going to happen around that. And of course, the risk factors are higher for males than they are for females, because again, if a male gets hurt, he's going to be able to, he'll get his prescription, and he may or may not be more susceptible to taking more to, again, like I said, get rid of the pain so you get back to the game, which is not what we want to send our athletes in to discuss about. And again, here's something that is really interesting because, again, in this day and age, we have multiple sport athletes. And we do praise that because, again, that's something that is unique in that aspect. However, we have to really understand that if that student athlete or athlete is playing 3 or more sports, there's 3 more times to be approached illegally to sell or illegally to give opiate medications, because if they get hurt, people know that, oh, that person is going to get X, Y, and Z. And I guarantee you right now, especially in the high schools, this is happening. Somebody knows someone got hurt and they know who to talk to. So again, and it's more common than we think. And we don't want to say, no, my kid's not doing that. Yeah, it's happening. And again, this is from a former high school athlete that I spoke with, and this person had pulled the ACL. They were put on opiates, again, hydrocodone, and day 2, somebody at the high school just said, hey, someone that they don't know approached them and said, hey, I hear you have some blah, blah, blah. You want to sell it to me? And so, and of course, this kiddo was like, oh my gosh. Luckily, the kiddo said, no, I don't, but still, it happens. And it's going to happen more and more, what do we see? And like I said, we're starting to see a lot of this, the uptick of this, because, kiddos like to share all kinds of stuff. So what do we have to do? To know what to look for, signs and symptoms. And again, there's just some really quick symptoms that you're seeing. Of course, if they are having pinpoint eyes, it's like if they look a little pinpoint, they're flush, they're red, and it's not just because of them running a lot or working out. They're a little bit more so. And then they have, obviously, if they have some slurred speech, and then, of course, if they're constipated, which, again, as a coach, you may or may not see. But again, just think about these things. And then, of course, if they're coming off an opiate, you're going to see they're a little tired. They got runny nose. Maybe that's coinciding with a flu that's happening right about now, or even with a lot of these symptoms mimic flu, RSV, and COVID. So you got to really be up on your game as parents, coaches, and administration. You got to know. And then of course there's again, dilated pupils, sudden trips to the bathroom, a lot of joint pain, and severe insomnia. That's when they're coming off opiates. And there's a nice picture there that we could definitely share with folks. It's just, what pinpoint pupils look like, the dilated pupils look like. So it's just, again, it's when people you're going to look at them, you're going to see that something's wrong. And at that point, that's when you would intercede and ask. And then this is just something that's kind of, again, when we're talking opiates, I have heroin down there, but heroin is the illegal opiate. Prescription drugs are the prescribed opiate. A lot of the similarities are the same. They both have sleepiness, nausea, pain relief, euphoria, breathing problems, because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to knock down all of these things that are contributing to the pain. And again, it's very similar in what's happening. So again, that's why because it's the same chemical family, we got to be aware of these things and just be, little Johnny's sleeping a lot, or Susie's kind of tired from her big workout. It might not be that if they're abusing opiates. So we got to be really heightened on our game.
We had such a great conversation the first time, and we didn't want it to stop. It's such an important subject. So here it is.